Okay. Yeah, thank you for the very, very, very synth 80s intro, Hendrik. He's from Edelfrequenz. They are an in-house band, and they also did a lot of wonderful stuff for us around here. So you're probably asking yourselves, why the hell am I in this building? This is not an office. That's actually the point. You're here because this is where creativity starts. This is where innovation happens. This is where good ideas are born. They don't happen in offices. They happen in crazy places like this. And that's why this is our creator space. So welcome to our creator space, the sort of factory where we actually make all the stuff we make. I thought since you guys are freelancers, you guys are startups, you guys are professionals, you should see where we actually do the real work and not where we lie and actually say we do the real work. So let me ask you guys, how many out there are advisors? Show of hands. Show me the advisors. Okay, all the consultants, all the trainers, all the coaches. Exactly. Okay, what about creators? Where are the creators at? Okay, yeah, wonderful. Okay, let me ask you guys, what about freelancers? How many of you have done freelancing or are currently doing freelancing? Maybe you're even thinking about doing freelancing. Okay, we've got some freelancers here tonight. That's good, because that's our topic. So, otherwise, why am I here? So, we're talking about freelancing. Now, the interesting thing is, with the freelance economy, is that it's such a huge economy. It's growing, and no one's talking about this. It's a really strange thing that no one is speaking about the freelance economy. I mean, for example, last year, 34% of Americans did some kind of freelancing. 34%. Such a big number. I mean, this number represents 53 million people. How crazy is that? 53 million people last year in the United States did some kind of freelancing. Now, that's not just a trend in the United States. That is a global trend. It's growing about 3.5% a year annually all over the globe. Here in the EU, for example, in 2013 alone, full-time freelancing grew by 45% to over 10 million full-time freelancers. That's such a big number. This is happening all over the place, and no one's asking why. That's our question. Oops. So it's projected that by 2020, there'll be between 40 and 50% freelancers in the United States. 40 and 50% of people in the United States working, freelancing. So my question is, why? Why is this happening? Why are there so many freelancers? That's a very good question. I did a little research, of course, otherwise I wouldn't be standing up here. So the interesting thing is that a company, on average, saves at least 30% by having freelancers over full-time employees. I think that's a really big incentive. I mean, 30% or more. So it just makes sense. Now, the other thing that happened was the 90s, because that's when this technology boom started, and there was this promise of telecommuting. Has anyone heard of telecommuting from the 90s? Yeah? Okay, over there. Wonderful. So with telecommuting, they said you will work at home for your company. But let me ask you, as a company, why do you need to have full-time employees when you can save at least 30% by having freelancers working from home? And I think that was a big impact. I mean, all the freelancing platforms, this technology enabled people to become freelancers like never before. So the interesting thing is, there's this number here, 22.5 million. That is the number of companies in the US that have 0 employees. 0. No joke. That many companies have no employees. Most of them, they hire freelancers. That is just insane. So this actually represents 75% of companies in the United States that have 0 employees. Look it up yourself. It's amazing. I cannot believe this. So what's going on here, you know? The interesting thing is, since 1995, 65% of the US economy is based off of these small businesses with 500 or less employees. And then out of that, 75% of them have no employees and usually hire freelancers. This is not just a trend for the future. This is the trend now. And yet, no one talks about this. I've often wondered about that. Let's talk more about freelancers, though. What do freelancers need? There are 3 basic things a freelancer needs. So the first thing, clients. You know, that's actually the biggest question I get. How do you get clients? How do you get customers? Everyone's always asking that. There's no really good answers. Some people go online, you know, they go to these different platforms, these freelancer platforms, but that can be very difficult to compete. There's always people who will do it cheaper. It's really difficult. I would say, in my personal opinion, the best way to get customers is doing what you're doing tonight, business networking. You're talking to people, you're handing out your business cards. I think that is the best way to do it. Work locally. Make those connections. That's why we're here at Connect. It's to connect you. Because maybe that person sitting next to you, they need your services, or they know someone who does. So talk to them. Don't be afraid. Get out there. So number 2, estimates. Now, this is not just project estimates of how much do you cost or something like that. You're estimating your time, because as a freelancer, the thing is you're trading your time for money. This is not a business model. This is not scalable. You work more hours, you get paid more. You work less hours, you get paid less. It's as simple as that. So you have to really budget your time and come out with a good number of how much your projects will cost. If you can't do that, you're going to have a lot of problems. I know a lot of people here, probably, they always overestimate how long these things will take. They figure out, oh, you know, I'll just do this, and it takes 2-3 times as much usually. And you're thinking, oh my God, I'm working so hard, and I'm not making enough money. So that's a really difficult issue right there. Number 3, of course, billing. The interesting thing is, 40% of the time, you'll get paid late as a freelancer. It was polled 40% of the time you're going to be paid late by at least 2 weeks. When you're living from paycheck to paycheck as a freelancer and you don't even know if you're going to get paid on time next time, that can make things very difficult. So these 3 things are the difficult problems that freelancers face. But we have a solution. We have an idea, at least. Service as a product. I don't know how many of you here have heard of service as a product before, but service as a product is where you can take some sort of service you offer, you can strip it down to the bare essentials, and then you can offer it and repeat, repeat, repeat. Instead of coming up with really complicated projections of how much a project will cost, you're always doing the same project. Perhaps you've heard of Fiverr, some platform like that where people offer services for $5. Maybe you've heard of that. That was the actual first service as a product. And the whole point of this is that now you have a scalable business model. When you can take your services and productize them, you can actually scale that like a business instead of working per hour. That is the future of freelancing. That is where it's at. That's what you need to be doing. So I hope you can do that. But let's get back to the freelancers. So who are these freelancers that we're talking about? Well, we checked that out, and there are basically 2 types of freelancers that we found. One, of course, we talked about creators, designers, developers, all types of people who do anything with engineering and programming. They all create something. So the definition is they offer deliverable creative services. Something that's like intellectual property or otherwise that can be delivered. That's a creator. Deliverable services. So, number 2, we have advisors. What do advisors do? They offer knowledge-based services. They have a knowledge set, and they offer advice. That's why they're called advisors. Whether they're coaches, consultants, trainers, teachers, even medical professionals, they're all advisors. They all offer advice. So those are the 2 basic types. Now, what is the breakdown between these 2? The interesting thing is, it's about 50-50. If you actually look at what freelancers are doing, it breaks down by 50-50. I found that very interesting. I didn't think it was going to break down like that, but it turns out with all the consultants and all the designers out there that the freelance economy is split pretty much down the middle. So what exactly do advisors do? Well, they facilitate knowledge transfer. What does that mean? Well, they use a metric to measure the progress of a system or a person. We'll call that a user. That's what they do. They have to measure something for improvement, and then they offer feedback to further improve the person or the company or whatever, the user. So until now, there really hasn't been any sort of platform to help advisors actually turn their services into products and to help them manage, rate, and give feedback to their users. Nothing like that has existed. I find that very surprising. So we at Blue Wave, we decided to actually do something about that. And here's where my pitch comes in. So since we're hosting the event, we've got to do a little product placement. I'm sorry about that. So we came up with this idea of putting all that together in a knowledge management platform for advisors. We call it Overview. We launched that today. It's already on the App Store right now. And we're very, very proud of that. So the first thing we did was we decided to go after the freelance market. We made a little bit of an ad for fitness because fitness is a great market to start in, but it works for all types of advisors. So I'm going to try to figure out how to do this with the computer really quickly because this is not my computer. Thank you. Thanks very much. So that's that microphone, please. So a little bit more. I like to hear myself. I like to talk. So that's Overview for Fitness. That's our first trailer that we produced. That's actually by this wonderful man over here, Thomas Bea. He's our photographer this evening. He did a great job. Yeah, exactly. I'm so proud of him. And of course, the song is by Edelfrequenz. They produce our songs for us, and they also did an incredible job. And of course, you can actually see one of the actors right here. She's sitting right over there, and thank you so much for that. So, yeah, that's Overview. Now, with fitness, it's pretty straightforward what that does. But this works more generally, and if you can bear with me for just a couple more minutes, I can get this promo out of the way so we can start the Power Talks, okay? So, how does it work? Well, an advisor creates a question template using 3 methods: drop-down, checkbox, and a text field. So with that, they create this question template for their users. It could be about anything. Then, using a metric is important, like we said. You need to have a system of measurement. And with us, it's our intuitive 3-color system: green, yellow, and red. Now, I don't think I need to explain to anyone here that green is good and red is bad, right? Like, I think everyone knows that. So, finally, the user, the customer, the client, the student, whatever, fills out an entry based off of this question template. They can even put in a file, such as a photo, and they can fill in all these forms with the drop-down, the checkbox, and the text field, and then they submit it, and then it's rated, and there's feedback given by their advisor. And all of that is built into our colorful calendar system. So if you look over here at advisor, you can see this purple for advisor. Love the color system. you can see immediately how your users are doing. You can see their colors. And if you look at the users, you can actually see as a user this nice calendar and always see when, what, and why. Am I doing good? Am I doing bad? You can see that really, really easily. That's the whole point of this intuitive design. So what about enterprise? Well, that's actually our first market that we got into because there's a lot of companies that want to manage all of their employees. So on one side, we're offering the API. That's the technical speak of looping it in and connecting it to our back end. The API will be available, and anyone can build our knowledge management tools into their apps or their websites. Simple as that. Finally, of course, if you want to go for a bigger enterprise, you can deploy this on your own cloud or server and run that internally for more privacy, security, and of course, customization. Now, finally, you're probably asking, how much does this cost, though? Well, as a user, it's for free. And for advisors, it's billed monthly depending on how many users they have, because it's a software as a service, which is a really good thing. So, overview, like I said, the knowledge management platform for advisors will turn your services into products so you can easily make more money as an advisor, which I think is great. It's now available on the App Store. So you can already download that. If you have an iPhone, whoop it out right now, download that. We have free Wi-Fi here, so. And it'll be available for web and Android very soon. So thank you for bearing with me for this little ad, since, I mean, this is our creator space. I'd like to get to the power talkers, actually, now. Let's see who's first up on the list here, the brave, brave person. Yeah, okay, thanks, guys. Thank you.